Hello guys and girls, so I've got a nice build guide for you today. I'm quite pleased with this one. So I am building in Tenpines, and I do two things. I quickly just do a little technique with the greenhouses. Someone mentioned the comments, and it was an absolutely grand idea, which is basically what I did in the last video, except putting these kind of lower walls on the bottom first, before you then sink the greenhouse in, just because it means that you don't have the issue of the floor slightly floating, or the walls rather slightly floating. So it looks really good, and it was just like, oh my god, that's such a genius idea. But after this awesome technique, which is just not very particularly, it's a particularly very dull greenhouse actually, but I just wanted to sink it in. I wanted to mix and I do show in this video, mixing the scaffolding with the junk walls to create. They look so good. They do take a long time to do. They're not like, you know, some of my other walls that I've done before. Basically, it's pretty straightforward. You just build a ring around the settlement with scaffolding, and then you just glitch the junk fences in. Looks pretty cool. Does take a while, so that's something to bear in mind. I'm quite... oh, watch this, watch this, watch this. Watch the rookie mistake. You wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Always take the foundations off, or it'll do that. So I'm quite pleased that I'm actually... I decided to not do anything more in Far Harbour because the visitor centre was the same kind of thing as... basically all the settlements, to be honest. Like, they just go foggy really quickly. I know there are people mentioning in the last video, or the last Far Harbour video, that I should maybe have, like, a little system where I just have a switch that turns on and off and keeps, you know, on a timer that launches all of the fireworks in the sky. But to be honest, that's just an absolute pain in the knob, and I can't be asked to do that shit. So we'll just, when mods eventually drop for PS4, I'll go back to Far Harbour. But to us, it just felt good to be back in the Commonwealth and actually kind of building up Commonwealth settlements. Just because I'm trying to, this is my, like, ring of settlements first. So I'm going to do the kind of northern side on this save. The northern side of the Commonwealth. So I'm basically doing Tenpines. Said basically at the end of this video, you're going to see more or less the entire settlement built up. Okay, I do this little kind of scaffolding platform area first, and then we actually do the walls, and then because I've already started building on it already, I'm just going to do the inside a little bit on another video, which we call, and we will still do Longfellow's cabin as well. I just never got around to doing it on the weekend. And then we'll probably maybe do something like Outpost of Monya. I might do Grey Garden actually as well soon, because I haven't even touched that settlement once ever, other than plop some turrets down. But it's good to be back in the Commonwealth because it's my favourite building. Just the weather's so good. And everything's just so much easier. There's no awkwardness. I've got to say, because I remember someone in the last... a couple of times people have tweeted, because I mentioned the Mechanist layer. I've realised, Bethesda, I love you, right? I love you. But it occurs to me you haven't added a new settlement that you haven't fucked up. Think about it, right? You've got the Mechanist layer, and then you've got the Far Harbour settlements. Mechanist layer works the same as... This idea doesn't work, by the way. Mechanist layer works the same as... what do we call it? The airport, where you basically are limited to the kind of things you can place. Someone tweeted me earlier saying that you can't even place shops. I hadn't realised that. You can't do anything in it. And it was just such a pain in the arse. And then with the Far Harbour settlements as well... yeah, for fuck's sake. Fuck's sake, Bethesda. God damn it, you had one job. Anyway, on a more interesting and or exciting note, scaffolding and these walls look so good. Now, this one's one of those videos where I kind of just build a bit, then skip forward a little bit, because I don't want to literally show you the entire tedium of me putting walls up. But it kind of works similar to the concrete in the way, because you probably noticed the big issue you're going to have with this, especially on somewhere like... Tenpines, you know, any settlement really, you're going to have this issue where the ground is uneven. And it is a big issue. Tenpines is a little harder, I must admit, because you see on the side we're facing, the opposite side to what we are now, you do have that really large slope. So the technique, and I do demonstrate it in this video as well, but it works similar to the concrete, where what you want to do is, when you're going up a slope, recommend using the smaller scaffolding, the one block, the thinner version, not the double one. And you basically just... when the ground starts to raise up a little bit, you just raise each piece of scaffolding up. I'm also going to quickly pop a generator in. This is a useful technique. So this is more of a traditional video, though I am obviously focusing mainly on the walls, and that's in the title. But I also wanted to just kind of show you everything I built, at least a little bit. Little thing with the windmill generators. And you'll see it in a second. Right, I basically put the windmill in. Any angle, it does take me a while to get it in. But basically, once I've popped the windmill generator in, I can actually just select the foundation. I always thought I'd have to select all. There we go. I can grab the foundation, and it works the same as the rug. So I can actually basically just glitch the windmill in at every angle I like. I always like having a windmill there just because I like it, the little raised area. But that's a useful technique to know. I was always so obsessive with my windmills on actually getting them the exact facing the right way. But when you're doing this, to be completely honest, it doesn't matter. Just get it in and then just swing it around. So right, I believe it's here where I'm going to show you. Yeah, it is. Now, it was a little bit of a pain in the arse, because what I was doing... Oh, no, I'm putting the platforms on first. So, firstly, it works really well. And what I've done... Yeah, that's it. What I've done here first is these are actually too high for the junk fences. So, whenever you're doing the junk fences, you actually want your scaffolding a little bit further in the ground. Because basically, it just looks a bit twatish, really, to be honest. If you have it, like... Because you want it to look like the lip of the scaffolding platform is actually just underneath the lip of the foundation, the shack walls. Obviously, you know, you can make bigger walls if you want, and then obviously you can adjust the scaffolding accordingly. But I actually quite prefer the fact that it's not massively too high. Because this looks nice, you know, it's not like a... It doesn't look like the... Well, for starters, they're quicker to do, because you just basically once you've lowered the scaffolding floor in, you can just snap it straight on and it works fine. But also, if, you know, for example, if you're making massive walls and you have to kind of put a second layer on, it's a big pain in the knob. But so yeah, pop this in here. This is actually... I end up taking this out, by the way, because it's also... I'm going to link in the... Because I can't remember if I show it in this one. I'm going to link to my video on how to place junk fences on uneven ground, because you are going to be using that a lot. As you see there, it's floating. It just involves making a giant train of rugs, and actually it allows you to basically put the fence in on a much lower slope. So see what I've done here. I'll show you in the video. Fine, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's just bad to explain it while I'm also recording. So what I do basically is I lowered it down. I kept the fence in, and then I can just basically just all the ones that I already placed, I can just snap them back in. So this is about the height. Basically, it was about maybe a quarter of the height lower than normal. But to be honest, just put a junk fence down and just use it as a marker. And everything's fine and grand. So now I'm showing you how to do basically the differing heights. So what I've gone and done, basically... I'll show you here. So I actually snapped that one on first. I'll show you. I do it again, don't worry. I realised while I was doing this, I was like, I haven't shown the first part yet. But the cool thing is with this, is what I was able to do. Is actually then, because the way it snapped perfectly, it does take me a while to get it. There we go, I can snap the fences on, the fences, good God, my brain, the steps on from the wooden tab. Now, it did take a while for me at first to get it, to know how high it needed to be, because you saw there it was floating a little bit, so it does take a little bit of crafty manoeuvring to kind of figure out exactly how high it needs to be. Also, I was having a bit of pain in the knob with this one where it sometimes doesn't snap. The scaffolding does that a lot. How I did this one, by the way, for whatever reason, I do it in the most awkward way possible. But I wanted to show you everything, so it's fine. Do I get it right this time? Oh, no. Just lower it down a little bit. It's good learning. It's all a learning experience. There we go. Just a wee bit. Once you've done one, you can then do it by eye. This is literally, as I'm recording now, this is me learning exactly the height it needs to be. But it works. The good thing is, it works so well. Like, the floor's snapping really well. And also, you'll see it later in the video, but then you can just snap. I snapped the metal railings around the top. I might change it for the wooden railings, maybe later on. But the metal ones, the ones from the scaffolding tab, look really well. So see what I've done here. I just snapped them on there like that. I snapped another one inside, took that one off, and then I can just use the I'm holding the select button, I'm holding X on PlayStation and using the L1 button, and I can then raise that one up and then just snap that one back on, and it's, I don't know if this one might be a bit too high, if it's the perfect height, but that's literally how you do it. And the technique you're going to be using a lot with this is, unless you want it completely square, this is me, by the way, I'm just going to be going over and demonstrating it, is basically what I did is I did the technique there and I just angled it, so I was able to curve the fence round, because to be honest, the platform doesn't need to be completely, as you can see right now, because when I put the steps on, I can just have it at an angle base, doesn't matter. And even when I'm connecting there, it doesn't really matter. As long as you can just walk over it without falling through, it doesn't really matter if there's a slight gap between the platforms. So before I finish the rest of the fence, I wanted to do... I am going to make this look a lot prettier, by the way. This is just basically because I wanted this to have the garage door. I thought I'd do something really basic for now. I was going to fuck around and actually fuck with this, and I decided, you know what, let's do the steps another time, and then I completely forgot to do them. I'm going to do an actual... This will probably be just similar to my gateway from Sanctuary, to be completely honest, because I quite like that one and it suits the area. I just wanted to kind of... think of this as a placeholder. The reason being is if you're going to putting the gatehouse on first makes more sense, because that way the wall, and you'll see the way it's connected when I kind of show you at the end, it is connected in kind of quite a... like, basically I just glitched fences in. It looks really crisp, but I had to kind of maneuver them in. It's easier to connect the wall to that than it is for me to try and kind of build all the wall and then trying to squeeze the gatehouse in. I really didn't know what I was doing here. I was just like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? It's fine. That's not part of this video. This video is about walls. We all had the gatehouse. Oh, well, I'll build the gatehouse at some point soon. I love Tenpines. I think it's because it's the first settlement you unlock. I always have a... It's such a boring little shithole unless you do something to it, and then it just looks absolutely grand. You may notice as well this one is a lot smaller than my other Tenpines video, because the same kind of thing with these settlements. I'm trying to make them a little bit more conservative but detailed. So I kept this one, literally, it's going to be the wee greenhouse. I'll put some details in, probably have a trailer, because I do love them. I might do actually I'll do the box cars, might as well. And kind of just make it a little bit more packed. This is a good technique as well. You can actually snap the stairs on first, and then it allows you to actually do it in reverse, and that might actually be better, and this is why I recorded it, is if you're having trouble with that. See like this? I'm having a bit of think there. That was a longer pause, but it sped up. And I'm able to just grab this. I still have a little bit of an issue with it snapping. And you've got to make sure. But to be honest, as long as you... was I able to put that back in? I don't know why I did it that way. Basically, the way I just did it prior to this is, to be honest, one of the easier ways to do it, because it allows you to basically just again, you'll do it by eye and kind of learn exactly how high it needs to be yourself. But basically, you can just snap it back in. When you're doing this, pay attention to the fact you're not holding just X. Because one thing you do is if you hold X, you move it on kind of vertically. And if you hold X and L1 and move the left bumper, you're doing it horizontally and then vertically as X and L1. The reason being is when I was doing this, for some reason I wasn't paying attention and kept moving the scaffolding at an angle. So when I put the stairs in, it was off at a weird angle. So pay attention to that. I did it all the time with my goddamn concrete walls. But it's more easier to do it with this scaffolding, especially when you're doing these bends here. So you can see it's not really completely connecting to the gatehouse, but it doesn't actually matter, because what's going to cover these gaps is actually the junk fences. So it's looking pretty cool right now. Now the junk fences part, I do kind of speed over it. I kind of show you a little bit of how I went and did it as I go, but again, this took about, I think, 2 hours of my time to do. Yeah, 2 hours. I think, no, 2 hours? Hour and a half, maybe? It's one of those things that, ostensibly, you can kind of feel like you're doing it quicker. However, it still is an absolute pain in the knob. And I have to do my technique with these. Now what you do, and I will link the other video where I go into a bit more detail. But basically, you curve them like this. So as I'm going around, I then can position the rug I'm grabbing on the lower, kind of like further down, lower in the ground. However, because it's still attached, the fence is still attached to the rug, it pulls it into the earth. Also, another bonus, when you take the rug off, it still snaps further down a little bit as well. Sometimes. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. In this instance, didn't do that, but it's fine. But it's a really simple thing to do. I know some people really struggle with using fences on uneven ground, but to be honest, it really is simple. The hardest part with this one was due to the fact that Tenpines is actually quite... like, the edge of the settlement here is very, very close. You see the edge of the build area, and on the other side, it was an absolute nightmare. Because of the fact just naturally the way of the area worked, I had to really kind of squeeze it in. So often the rugs... see, this is what I do, basically. Is I have this curved bar. You plop the fence on. I like to repeat it again, because it just makes you... and you can see I've already done loads of it already. And basically just find the lower side like this. And look at that. And it's really simple, but you can see the problem I was having was just the fact I kept walking out of the build area. So be warned of that. I like to do them when I was doing this to keep myself sane. I did them in twos like this. So I would do two. and it allows you to kind of fuck up the rug glitch. But also allows you to basically kind of make sure those two pieces are connected. Just doing it, and also just one after the time is an absolute pain in the knob. Look at it, it's grand. Don't worry, I do a nice little slowed down tour and nice. Oh, that gap I sort out later, don't worry. But it literally these, it's made for it. Yeah, look at it. Look how like now see as this one is a bit more sped up basically because I'm just gonna. You've already seen me do it, so I'm just gonna go through it each time and show you how much I've done. But these these junk fences combined with the scaffolding are made for each other, and it looks so crisp. I'm actually really pleased I used the metal railings at the top. Actually, I think they look really good. Cause I think here we go. Here's the final tour. So that's it. Like this is all I've done so far. I really like the scaffolding and junk walls. I know I did speed through the last bit, completely honest, because it was just me literally just doing everything you've just seen over and over and over again. Hope you guys like this, and I really hope you guys, seriously, I know a lot of you have been already, but make use of those scaffolding on the walls, because to be honest, as you can see, they're so easy to glitch things in. I've seen people use normal walls as well, which actually looks pretty decent, especially if you use maybe the holding X pillar glitch to actually sink them into the ground. It looks really cool, and it's if you want something a bit more kind of crisp fortressy. I like my junk fences because I like my, kind of wasteland apocalypse theme. Right, as always, follow me on Twitter at norespawns. The next video of this one will be on Thursday, but I might do a different build video in between kind of doing the interior of these. I'm going to ponder tonight what to do. Alright, anyway, love you all. Talk to you soon.